The stars looked different from the bridge of the Aurora's edge. Captain Jake Morrison stood watching the blue and green planet grow larger on the main screen. After 18 months of travel through space, they had finally reached Zaphiria Prime. This was humanity's first real chance to meet aliens who could talk back. "Captain, we're getting signals from the planet," said Lieutenant Danny Collins from his station. "They're speaking in the language we learned from their first messages." Jake nodded. 3 years ago, Earth had picked up radio signals from this system. The messages were simple math problems and basic pictures. It took human scientists 2 years to figure out how to talk back. Now, after all that work, they were here. Dr. Lisa Harper walked onto the bridge carrying her tablet. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms, though she had never seen a real alien before. No human had. "The planet looks perfect for life," she said. "Lots of water, good air, and the right temperature. I can't wait to see what lives down there." "Well, you won't have to wait much longer," Jake replied. "They're sending up a ship to meet us." The alien ship was beautiful. It looked like it was made of crystal and light. It moved smoothly through space without making any sound that their instruments could pick up. When it came close to the Aurora's edge, Jake could see figures moving inside through the clear walls. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship Aurora's Edge," he said into the radio. "We are happy to meet you." "Welcome, humans from Earth," came the reply. The voice sounded musical, like wind chimes. "I am High Counselor Velthar of the Kalari people. We have prepared a place for you to visit on our world." 2 hours later, Jake found himself standing in a room that looked like it was carved from a single giant crystal. The walls were smooth and reflected rainbow colors when the light hit them. The air smelled like flowers and rain. The Kalari were amazing to look at. They were tall and thin, about 7 feet high, with skin that looked like it was made of colored glass. Their skin changed colors slowly, like oil on water. They had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on their faces, and their hands had 6 long fingers. High Counselor Velthar stepped forward. His skin was mostly blue with streaks of silver. "You must be tired from your long journey," he said. "Please sit and share food with us." The human team sat at a table that seemed to grow from the crystal floor. Besides Jake, there was Dr. Harper, Lieutenant Collins, and 3 other crew members. The Kalari brought them fruits that tasted like nothing from Earth but were very good. "Your world is beautiful," said Dr. Harper. She was looking around the room with wide eyes. "I study animals and plants. I would love to learn about the life on your planet." When she said this, something strange happened. All the Kalari in the room became very still. Their skin colors changed to dark gray and black. Velthar's 4 eyes all focused on Dr. Harper at once. "You study animals?" Velthar asked slowly. "Yes," Dr. Harper said, not understanding why everyone seemed worried. "I want to learn about the creatures that live here. Do you have any pets? Animals that live with you?" The room became even quieter. Jake noticed that some of the younger Kalari were moving closer to the walls as if they wanted to run away. We do not keep animals," Velthar said. His musical voice now sounded strained. "It is not safe." "Not safe?" Lieutenant Collins asked. "What do you mean?" Velthar looked at the other Kalari, who were all making soft whistling sounds. Jake guessed it was how they talked to each other privately. "There are things on our world," Velthar began, "that hunt in the darkness. We call them shadow stalkers. They are the reason we live in cities like this one, high above the ground or deep below it." Dr. Harper leaned forward, interested. "What kind of creatures are they?" "The most dangerous predators in the galaxy," Velthar replied. Several young Kalari made scared sounds and moved even further away. "They are fast like lightning. They can see in complete darkness. They have claws that can cut through our strongest metals. They are smart, very smart. They can plan and hunt in groups." "How big are they?" Jake asked. "They come in different sizes," Velthar said, his skin now almost completely black. "But even the smallest ones are deadly. They move without sound. They can climb any surface. They watch and wait and learn about their prey before they attack one. of the younger Kalari, whose skin was flickering between purple and gray, spoke up. My great-grandfather told stories of entire cities that were abandoned because of shadow stalkers. Thousands of our people died trying to fight them. Dr. Harper was taking notes on her tablet. Have you tried to study them? Learn about their behavior? The reaction was immediate. Every Kalari in the room backed away from her, making high-pitched alarm calls. Velthar raised his hands, trying to calm everyone down. Dr. Harper, Velthar said, his voice shaking, we do not study them, we survive them. For 10,000 years our people have lived in fear of the shadow stalkers. They are the nightmare that shaped our entire civilization. But surely you must have some pictures or recordings, Dr. Harper continued, not understanding how scared the aliens were. No, said the young Kalari who had spoken before. To see them is to invite death. To think about them too much brings bad luck. They know when you are watching them and they remember. Jake looked around the room and realized that first contact was not going as planned. The humans had come here hoping to learn and make friends. Instead, they had stumbled into the Kalari's worst fears. We apologize, Jake said quickly. We didn't mean to upset anyone. On our world, we study animals to understand them better. It helps us live alongside them. Live alongside them? Velthar asked, his 4 eyes wide with shock. You live near predators on your world? Some of them, Jake admitted. We've learned to coexist with many dangerous animals. The Kalari began making those whistling sounds again, but louder this time. It sounded like panic. Captain Morrison, Velthar said, his voice very serious. You must promise me something. Do not go to the surface of our world during the dark hours. Do not leave your ship at night. The shadow stalkers are most active when the sun is gone, and they will sense that you are different. They will be curious about you, and their curiosity is deadly. Jake nodded, though he didn't fully understand the fear he saw in every Kalari face. We promise to be careful. Careful is not enough, Velthar replied. You must avoid them completely. Promise me you will not seek them out no matter how curious your scientists become. Dr. Harper started to say something, but Jake cut her off. We promise, he said. But as they were led to their guest quarters in the Crystal City, Jake noticed Dr. Harper was still taking notes. He had a feeling that promises made in fear were often the first ones to be broken. 3 days after the warning from High Counselor Velthar, Sergeant Amy Rodriguez was getting tired of staying inside the Crystal City. She had joined the space mission to explore new worlds, not to sit in pretty rooms looking at the same walls every day. We need rock samples from the surface, she told Captain Morrison during their morning meeting. The Kalari cities are amazing, but we can't learn about their planet by staying up here. Dr. Harper nodded from across the table. Amy's right. We have equipment to protect us and will only work during daylight. The Kalari said the shadow stalkers are most active at night. Captain Morrison looked worried. We promised Velthar we would be careful. We will be careful, Amy said. I'll take a small team. We'll set up camp in the mountains where the Kalari said it was safer. 2 days, get our samples, and come back. Lieutenant Collins leaned forward. I should go with you. Security. No, Morrison said. If something happens to our security chief, we're all in trouble. Amy, take Tony Blake for communications and Kate Sullivan for technical support. Small team, quick mission. Amy smiled. Finally, some real exploration. The next morning, the 3 humans took a shuttle down to the planet's surface. The mountain region was beautiful. Tall trees with silver leaves grew everywhere. Purple flowers covered the ground like carpet. The air was clean and smelled like mint. This place is amazing, said Tony Blake as he set up their communication equipment. He was young and excited about everything. I can't believe the Kalari are so scared of it. Kate Sullivan was already working with her rock samples. She was quiet and focused, always thinking about her work. Maybe they have good reasons to be scared, she said. We don't know what's out here. Amy set up their motion sensors around the camp. The devices would tell them if anything big was moving nearby. She also put up bright lights that would turn on automatically when it got dark. There, Amy said, looking at their small camp. Safe as we can make it. The first day went well. They collected rocks, took pictures, and recorded everything they saw. The Kalari had been right about one thing. They didn't see any large animals during the day. There were small bird-like creatures in the trees and some insects, but nothing dangerous. As the sun started to set, the three humans gathered in their main tent. They had hot food from Earth and were feeling good about their mission. "Tomorrow we'll get samples from the valley below," Amy said. "Then we can go back and tell everyone that the surface isn't so scary after all." "The Kalari won't believe us," Tony said, laughing. "They've been afraid of this place for thousands of years." Kate was checking her equipment when she stopped. "Amy, the motion sensors are picking up something." Amy looked at the small screen that showed readings from around their camp. There was definitely something moving in the trees about 50 meters away. "How big?" she asked. "Hard to tell. Medium size, maybe. It's moving slowly." Tony grabbed his camera. "Should we go look?" "No," Amy said quickly. "We stay here. The lights are on. The sensors are watching. We'll be fine." But Amy felt excited, not scared. After 3 days of hearing about these terrible shadow stalkers, she was curious to see what they actually looked like. They waited in the tent, watching the motion sensor screen. Whatever was out there moved around their camp in a big circle, staying just outside the light. It moved for about an hour, then stopped. "Is it gone?" Tony whispered. "I don't think so," Kate said. "It's just sitting there." Amy made a decision that would change everything. "I'm going to look." "Amy, no," Kate said. "Remember what the Kalari said?" "The Kalari also said these things are 10 feet tall with metal claws," Amy replied. "Our sensors show something about the size of a large dog. I'm just going to look." She picked up a flashlight and slowly opened the tent flap. The camp was quiet, except for the soft sound of wind in the trees. Their automatic lights made a bright circle around the tents, but beyond that was darkness. Amy stepped outside and pointed her flashlight toward where the sensors had detected movement. At first she saw nothing. Then, 2 green eyes reflected, back at her from the darkness. The creature stepped into the light and Amy's mouth fell open. It was not a monster. It was not a 10-foot-tall killing machine with metal claws. It looked like a cat. A big cat, about the size of a mountain lion from Earth, but definitely a cat. It had black fur, bright green eyes, and a long tail that twitched as it watched her. "Oh my God," Amy whispered. The shadow stalker tilted its head, exactly like her pet cat used to do back on Earth when it was curious about something. Tony and Kate came out of the tent behind her, both carrying lights. "That's a shadow stalker?" Tony asked, amazed. The creature looked at all 3 humans, then did something that made Amy smile. It made a soft chirping sound, almost like a purr. "It's beautiful," Kate said quietly. Amy had grown up with cats. Her family always had at least 2 cats in the house. She knew cat behavior better than most people. This shadow stalker was not acting like a dangerous predator. It was acting like a curious house cat. Slowly, very slowly, Amy sat down on the ground. She held out her hand toward the creature. "Amy, what are you doing?" Kate whispered. "Trust me," Amy said. "I know cats." The shadow stalker watched her for a long moment. Then it took a step forward. Then another. It approached carefully, sniffing the air. When it was close enough, it stretched out its neck and sniffed Amy's hand. Its nose was cold and wet, just like a cat's nose should be. Then the most amazing thing happened. The shadow stalker began to purr. It was a deep rumbling sound that filled the quiet night air. Amy slowly reached out and touched the creature's head. Its fur was incredibly soft. The shadow stalker closed its eyes and leaned into her touch, purring louder. "I don't believe this," Tony said, his camera recording everything. The creature noticed Tony's camera and walked over to investigate. It sniffed the device, then rubbed against Tony's leg like a friendly house cat greeting a new person. Kate was taking readings with her equipment. "It's not showing any signs of aggression. Heart rate is calm, body temperature normal for what we'd expect." Amy scratched behind the shadow stalker's ears and it purred even louder. "You're just a big kitty, aren't you?" she said softly. The creature looked up at her with those bright green eyes. In that moment, Amy understood something important. This wasn't a monster that had terrorized the Kalari for thousands of years. This was an intelligent animal that had probably been trying to understand the strange aliens on its world. As if to prove her point, the shadow stalker walked to the edge of their camp and came back carrying something in its mouth. It dropped, a small round fruit at Amy's feet, then sat back and waited. "It brought us a gift," Amy said, amazed. The three humans spent the next hour playing with their new friend. The shadow stalker chased a light from Tony's flashlight, just like Earth. Cats chase laser pointers. It rubbed against their legs and purred when they petted it. When Kate dropped a small tool, the creature picked it up and brought it back to her. "The Kalari are going to have a hard time believing this," Tony said as the shadow stalker curled up next to Amy like a giant house cat. Amy stroked the creature's soft fur and listened to its peaceful purring. "They're not going to believe it at all," she said. "But maybe it's time they learned the truth about their shadow stalkers." The creature Amy had decided to call Midnight slept peacefully next to the humans for the rest of the night, keeping watch over their camp like the best guard cat in the galaxy. When Amy Rodriguez and her team returned to the Crystal City, they brought something no one expected: video footage of humans petting and playing with a shadow stalker. Captain Morrison watched the recordings with his mouth open. Dr. Harper kept replaying the part where the creature brought Amy a gift. Lieutenant Collins just shook his head in amazement. "We need to show this to the Kalari," Dr. Harper said. "This changes everything." "Does it?" Morrison asked. "They've been afraid of these creatures for thousands of years. A video of us petting one isn't going to make them feel better." But Dr. Harper was already planning. "We need to understand why they're so afraid. This creature was gentle, friendly, almost like a pet. There has to be a reason the Kalari see them differently." The next day, Morrison called a meeting with High Counselor Velthar and the other Kalari leaders. The humans had prepared carefully for this conversation. "We have something to show you," Morrison began. "But first, we want you to know that all of our people are safe and unharmed." Velthar's skin immediately changed to worried gray colors. "What happened? Did you encounter shadow stalkers?" "We did," Dr. Harper said gently. "And we recorded it." The reaction was immediate. Several Kalari made scared whistling sounds and backed away from the humans. One of the younger Kalari ran from the room completely. "You cannot show us this," Velthar said, his 4 eyes wide with fear. "To see a shadow stalker attack is too horrible. We cannot watch our new friends die." "But we didn't die," Amy said, stepping forward. "And there was no attack. Please just watch for 30 seconds. If you want us to stop, we will." Velthar looked at the other Kalari leaders. After a long moment of silent communication, he nodded slowly. Dr. Harper started the video on a small screen. It showed Amy sitting on the ground with her hand extended. The shadow stalker approached carefully, sniffed her hand, then began to purr. The sound of purring filled the crystal room. Every Kalari in the room froze. Their skin turned completely black, which Amy now knew meant they were terrified. "Turn it off," Velthar whispered. "Please turn it off." But Dr. Harper let it play for just a few more seconds. The video showed Amy petting the creature's head while it closed its eyes contentedly. 2 more Kalari ran from the room. The ones who stayed were shaking. "How are you alive?" Velthar asked, his voice barely audible. "How did you survive touching a shadow stalker?" "Because it didn't want to hurt us," Amy said. "It was curious about us. It was friendly." "Friendly?" The word came out like Velthar was speaking a foreign language he didn't understand. Dr. Harper leaned forward. "Velthar, can you tell us about your people's history? How did you evolve on this world?" Velthar looked confused by the change in topic. We were small creatures long ago. We lived in burrows underground. We came out only to find food, then hid again. The large predators hunted us for millions of years." "So your ancestors were prey animals," Dr. Harper said, understanding, beginning to show on her face. "Yes. The fast ones lived. The smart ones who could hide lived. The ones who could sense danger from far away lived. Those who were not afraid died. Dr. Harper nodded. And humans evolved differently. We lived alongside predators, but we also became predators ourselves. We learned to hunt, to work with other hunting animals, to understand them. She pulled out her tablet and showed them a picture from Earth. It was a house cat sitting in a sunny window. The Kalari reacted like she had shown them a weapon. More scared sounds, more backing away. This is a cat, Dr. Harper explained. Humans have lived with these animals for thousands of years. They are predators, but they are also our friends. We keep them in our homes. Our children play with them. That is impossible, Velthar said. No thinking being would willingly live with a predator. But we do, Amy said. We love them. They hunt small animals to keep our homes safe from pests. They sleep on our beds. They purr when they are happy, just like your shadow stalker purred with me. Commander Rick Barnes, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. He was the mission's expert on how different species think and behave. Velthar, I think I understand. What's happening here? Rick said. Your people see everything about these creatures as dangerous. The way they move silently, the way they hunt, the way they watch and wait. These things terrify you because your ancestors needed to fear them, to survive. Of course we fear them, Velthar replied. They are death walking on silent feet. But humans see those same things as wonderful, Rick continued. We think cats are beautiful when they move silently. We think they are smart when they watch and wait. We think they are amazing hunters, and we respect that. Amy pulled out her phone and showed more pictures from Earth. Cats sleeping with human babies, cats playing with children, cats sitting on people's laps while they worked. Each picture made the Kalari more upset, but Velthar kept looking. His skin was still black with fear, but his 4 eyes stayed focused on the images. On your world, you built cities to hide from shadow stalkers, Dr. Harper said. On our world, we built cities and invited cats to live in them with us. But why? Velthar asked. Why would you choose to live with danger? Because it's not danger to us, Amy said. It's companionship. The shadow stalker that visited our camp brought us gifts. It wanted to be near us. It was lonely. Lonely? Velthar's skin flickered between black and gray. Think about it, Rick said gently. Your people have been hiding from these creatures for thousands of years. The shadow stalkers are intelligent. Maybe they've been trying to understand you. Maybe they've been curious about the strange aliens who run away every time they get close. Dr. Harper showed another video clip. This one showed the shadow stalker bringing the small fruit to Amy and dropping it at her feet. It brought her food, Dr. Harper explained. In cat behavior, this means friendship. It means the cat wants to take care of you. It was trying to feed you? Velthar asked, amazed. Yes. And when we petted it, it purred. Purring is how cats show they are happy and safe. Your shadow stalker was telling us it felt safe with us. The room was quiet for a long time. The remaining Kalari were still scared, but Amy could see they were thinking hard about what they had learned. Finally, Velthar spoke. You are saying that the creatures we have feared for our entire history as a species are trying to be our friends? We think so, Amy said. They're not monsters. They're just cats. Very big cats, but cats. This is... Velthar paused, his skin slowly changing from black to dark blue. This is the most terrible and wonderful thing I have ever heard. Dr. Harper smiled. Velthar, what if we could help you meet them safely? What if we could show you that they don't want to hurt you? Velthar looked at the other Kalari, who were making soft whistling sounds. I do not know if my people could handle such a thing. This fear is part of who we are. Maybe, Amy said. It's time to find out who you could be without that fear. The meeting ended with more questions than answers, but Amy could see something had changed. For the first time in thousands of years, the Kalari were thinking about shadow stalkers as something other than monsters in the dark. And somewhere on the planet's surface, Midnight and other shadow stalkers continued to watch the crystal cities. waiting patiently for the day when the strange hiding aliens might finally want to be friends. Word spread through the Kalari Crystal City faster than Amy expected. Within hours of the meeting with High Counselor Velthar, every Kalari knew that humans had touched a shadow stalker and lived. The reactions were mixed and strong. "The humans are insane," said one group of older Kalari. "They will bring doom to us all." "Maybe the humans can teach us something," said a smaller group of younger Kalari. "Maybe we have been wrong about the shadow stalkers." Amy found herself famous in a way she had never wanted. Everywhere she went in the Crystal City, Kalari stared at her. Some backed away in fear, as if she carried some dangerous disease. Others followed her at a distance, curious but too scared to get close. Dr. Harper was working day and night with Kalari scientists, trying to understand their fear response better. She had discovered that Kalari brains were different from human brains in important ways. When a Kalari sees something that looks like a predator, their brain immediately goes into panic mode. She explained to Captain Morrison. "It's not just being scared, it's like their whole mind shuts down except for the part that says run and hide." "Can they learn to control it?" Morrison asked. "Maybe, with time and very careful training, but it won't be easy." Meanwhile, Amy had returned to the surface camp 3 more times. Each visit brought new shadow stalkers. Midnight was still her favorite, but now there were 5 others who visited regularly. She had named them Star, Moon, Storm, Sky, and River. The shadow stalkers seemed to understand that the humans were different from the Kalari. They brought gifts every night: fruits, interesting rocks, pretty flowers, and sometimes small dead animals that Amy politely declined to eat. Tony Blake had been recording everything. His videos showed shadow stalkers playing with balls of yarn that Amy brought from the ship. They showed the creatures sleeping peacefully next to humans. They showed shadow stalkers grooming themselves and each other, just like house cats. "These videos are amazing," said engineer Pete Watson when he saw them. "But how do we show them to Kalari without causing mass panic?" The answer came from an unexpected source. A young Kalari scientist named Zixara approached Dr. Harper during one of their research sessions. "I want to see a shadow stalker," Zixara said quietly. Dr. Harper nearly dropped her tablet. "What?" "I have been thinking about what you showed us, about your cats on Earth, about how shadow stalkers brought gifts to Sergeant Rodriguez. I want to understand." "Zixara, are you sure? Your people have been afraid of these creatures for thousands of years." "Yes, and where has that fear gotten us?" Zixara asked. "We live in cities above the ground or below it. We never walk on the surface of our own world at night. We have given up half our lives to fear. Maybe it is time to learn if that fear is necessary." Dr. Harper felt excited and worried at the same time. "What you're suggesting is very dangerous for your people." "Everything worth doing is dangerous," Zixara replied. "Will you help me?" 3 days later, Pete Watson had finished building something amazing. It was a clear, protective chamber, like a glass box big enough for one Kalari to sit inside. The walls were strong enough to stop any attack, but clear enough to see through perfectly. If a Kalari sits inside this, they can watch a shadow stalker without any physical danger, Pete explained. "There are air holes for breathing, but nothing big enough for claws to get through." Dr. Harper looked at the chamber. "What if just seeing a shadow stalker up close causes too much panic? What if Zixara gets so scared that it hurts her?" "We'll have human doctors standing by," Amy said, "and we'll start slow. Maybe just show her one of the smaller shadow stalkers from far away." The plan was simple but revolutionary. Amy would bring one shadow stalker to a clearing near the Crystal City. Zixara would sit in the protective chamber and watch from a safe distance. If everything went well, maybe other Kalari would be brave enough to try. Velthar tried to stop the experiment. "This is madness," he told the human leaders. "If Zixara is hurt or traumatized, it will be your fault." "High Counselor," Amy said respectfully, "we understand your concern, but Zixara chose this herself. Maybe it's time to let your people choose for themselves whether to face their fears." The day of the experiment, Amy sat in the clearing with Moon, one of the smaller shadow stalkers. Moon was about the size of a large house cat and had beautiful silver fur. She was calm and gentle, the perfect choice for this first meeting. 50 meters away, Zixara sat inside Pete's protective chamber. Her skin was completely black with fear, but her 4 eyes were focused on Amy and Moon. Amy began slowly. She petted Moon's head, and the shadow stalker purred loudly enough for Zixara to hear. "That sound," Zixara said through the communication system. "It is not angry growling?" "No," Amy replied. "It's purring. It means she's happy." Amy gave Moon a small ball to play with. The shadow stalker batted at it with her paws, chasing it around the clearing like a kitten. "She is playing?" Zixara asked. "Just like the cats in the videos I showed you," Amy confirmed. For an hour, Zixara watched Moon demonstrate typical cat behaviors, grooming her fur, stretching in the sunlight, rubbing against Amy's legs, and bringing Amy a flower she had found. Gradually, Zixara's skin began to change from black to dark gray, then to purple. She was still afraid, but she was also fascinated. "She brought you a gift," Zixara observed. "She does that every time I visit," Amy said. "I think she likes me." "And you are not afraid of her?" "No. Should I be afraid of something that brings me flowers?" After the session, Zixara was quiet for a long time. Finally, she spoke. "I need to think about what I have seen. Everything I believed about shadow stalkers. It may have been wrong." Word of Zixara's successful observation spread through the Crystal City like wildfire. The reaction was intense and divided. "Zixara has been infected with human madness," some Kalari said. "Zixara is the bravest of us all," said others. But the most important reaction came from the younger Kalari. They were curious, they had questions. They wanted to know more about what Zixara had seen. Within a week, 5 more young Kalari had volunteered to try the observation experiment. Then 10, then 20. Dr. Harper worked with each volunteer, helping them prepare mentally for what they would see. She showed them more videos of Earth cats explaining cat behavior and body language. When a shadow stalker's tail is up and moving slowly, it means they are curious and friendly, she explained. When they rub against something, it means they are marking it as safe and familiar. The experiments continued for 2 weeks. Each successful observation made more Kalari interested in trying. Amy rotated through different shadow stalkers, showing that they were all gentle and curious rather than violent. The breakthrough came when Zixara asked for a second session. This time she wanted to try something different. "Could the protective barrier have small holes?" she asked. "Small enough to be safe, but big enough for me to put my hand through?" Dr. Harper's eyes went wide. "Zixara, are you sure?" "I have been thinking about this for days. If shadow stalkers are really like your Earth cats, if they truly mean no harm, then maybe I could touch one." Pete Watson modified the protective chamber, adding small ports that were just big enough for a Kalari hand to fit through, but too small for a shadow stalker to get inside. The day Zixara first touched Moon's soft fur was the day everything changed for the Kalari people. "She is so soft," Zixara whispered, her skin showing amazement instead of fear. "And warm. And she is, purring? For me?" The video of that moment was shown throughout the Crystal City. A Kalari hand gently petting a shadow stalker while the creature purred with contentment. For the first time in 10,000 years, a Kalari had touched their planet's greatest predator and found a friend instead of an enemy. But the real surprise came when Moon did something no one expected. She gently took Zixara's hand in her mouth, not biting, just holding it carefully. Then she began to lick Zixara's fingers with her rough tongue. "She is grooming me," Zixara said in wonder. "Like she would groom another shadow stalker. She thinks I am part of her family." That was the moment when everything changed. The Kalari finally began to understand that their shadow stalkers had never been monsters waiting to kill them. They had been lonely cats, waiting 10,000 years for someone to be their friend. 6 months after Amy Rodriguez first petted Midnight in the mountain camp, The world of Zaphiria Prime looked completely different. Where once there had been only crystal cities high above the ground, now there was something new. The first joint, settlement between humans and Kalari, sat peacefully on the planet's surface, surrounded by rolling hills and silver-leafed trees. Amy stood on the porch of the settlement's main building, watching the morning activities. Kalari children played in the gardens while shadow stalkers sunbathed nearby. Human engineers worked alongside Kalari craftsmen to build new homes. It was a scene that would have been impossible to imagine just months before. "Good morning, Amy," said Zixara as she approached the porch. The young Kalari scientist had become Amy's closest friend and partner in the Shadow Stalker program. "Morning, Zixara. How did River sleep last night?" Amy asked. River was Zixara's Shadow Stalker companion, a beautiful creature with blue-gray fur and bright yellow eyes. Like all the Shadow Stalkers in the settlement, River had chosen her own human or Kalari family. "She slept on my bed again," Zixara said, her skin showing happy, golden colors. "I think she believes she is protecting me." Amy smiled. "She probably is. That's what cats do." The settlement was Amy's greatest achievement. After weeks of successful observation sessions, Captain Morrison had approved the creation of a permanent research facility on the surface. The Kalari Council had been harder to convince, but eventually agreed to let volunteers participate. 50 Kalari had moved to the settlement. Most were young scientists and explorers who wanted to learn about the Shadow Stalkers. A few were older Kalari who had become tired of living in fear. The Shadow Stalkers had been even more eager to join the settlement. It seemed like every cat-like creature within 50 kilometers had come to investigate the strange new community where aliens actually wanted to be friends. Dr. Harper approached them, carrying her daily research tablet. "Amy, I have some interesting news from the latest behavioral studies." "What did you find?" Amy asked. "The Shadow Stalkers have been leaving gifts around Kalari cities for over 1,000 years, Dr. Harper said. The Kalari always thought they were threats or warnings, but we now know they were actually peace offerings." Zixara's skin changed to surprised purple colors. "They have been trying to make friends with us for 1,000 years? "Longer than that, probably," Dr. Harper continued. "We found evidence that Shadow Stalkers have been following Kalari settlements, staying just close enough to watch but far enough away not to cause panic. They were curious about you." Amy shook her head in amazement. 1,000 years of missed friendship because of a misunderstanding. "But we are fixing that now," Zixara said firmly. "And we will make sure it never happens again." The settlement had become famous throughout both human and Kalari space. Videos of Kalari children playing with Shadow Stalkers were shown on news programs across the galaxy. Pictures of the peaceful community appeared in science journals and cultural studies. Captain Morrison walked up to join their conversation. He had been spending more time on the surface recently, working with Kalari leaders to expand the settlement program. "I just got word from the Kalari High Council," Morrison announced. "They've approved 3 more surface settlements, and they want to start a cultural exchange program with Earth." "What kind of exchange?" Amy asked. "They want to send young Kalari to Earth to study human-animal relationships. And they want to bring Earth cats to Zaphiria Prime to help train more Kalari in cat behavior." Amy laughed. "Earth cats are going to love it here, all this space to explore, and aliens who will worship them like the gods they think they are." The biggest change had been in Zixara herself. The terrified young scientist who had first volunteered to observe a Shadow Stalker was now the settlement's leading expert on cat behavior. She had written guides that helped other Kalari overcome their fears. She had trained dozens of Kalari in safe interaction techniques. Most importantly, she had become the first Kalari to sleep outdoors on her planet's surface in over 10,000 years. She did it every night with River curled up beside her under the stars. "Zixara," Amy said, "do you ever miss living in the Crystal City?" "Sometimes I miss the pretty walls and the safe feeling," Zixara admitted. "But I would never go back to hiding from half of my world. The surface is beautiful. The night sky is beautiful. The Shadow Stalkers are beautiful. We gave up so much because of our fear." "Fear can be useful," Dr. Harper said. It keeps us alive. But when fear stops us from living, it becomes a prison. That evening, the settlement held its weekly community meeting. Humans and Kalari sat together in the main hall, with shadow stalkers wandering freely among them. Some cats slept on people's laps. Others played with toys or groomed themselves in sunny spots. High Counselor Velthar attended the meeting through video link from the Crystal City. His skin still showed nervous gray colors when shadow stalkers appeared on screen, but he no longer ran away or demanded the video be turned off. The surface settlements are succeeding beyond our hopes, Velthar announced. Our people are learning that courage can be taught, that fear can be overcome, and that sometimes our greatest enemies are actually our greatest friends. What about the Kalari who are still afraid? Asked Pete Watson. Not everyone is ready for this change. They do not have to change, Velthar replied. The Crystal Cities will always be there for those who need them, but now our children will have choices. They can live in the cities, or they can live on the surface, or they can move between both. Fear will no longer make their choices for them. After the meeting, Amy walked through the settlement's gardens. It was late evening, and the shadow stalkers were becoming more active. She could see their eyes glowing in the darkness as they patrolled the area, keeping watch over their adopted community. Midnight found her by the fountain in the center of the garden. The black cat rubbed against Amy's legs and purred, just as she had that first night in the mountain camp. "Look how far we've come, old friend," Amy said, scratching behind Midnight's ears. Zixara joined them, with River walking beside her. The Kalari no longer needed protective gear or safety barriers. She moved confidently through the darkness, trusting in her shadow stalker companion's protection. "Amy," Zixara said, "I have been thinking about something." "What's that?" "My people spent 10,000 years believing that shadow stalkers were monsters. We built our entire civilization around avoiding them. We thought we were the smart ones, staying safe in our cities." Amy nodded, waiting for Zixara to continue. "But maybe the shadow stalkers were the smart ones all along. They spent 10,000 years trying to be our friends, even though we ran away every time they came near. They never gave up on us. They waited patiently until someone was ready to listen." Amy looked around the peaceful settlement where two species that had feared each other for millennia were now building a future together. "Maybe that's the real lesson here," Amy said. "Sometimes the most important thing you can do is keep trying to make friends even when it seems impossible." Above them, the stars of Zaphiria Prime shone down on the galaxy's most unlikely friendship. In the gardens, human children and Kalari youngsters slept peacefully in their beds, protected by shadow stalkers who purred softly in the darkness. And somewhere in the crystal cities above, other Kalari looked down at the lights of the surface settlement and began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, it was time to stop being afraid of the dark. The shadow stalkers had finally found the family they had been waiting for, and two civilizations had learned that sometimes the monsters in our nightmares are just friends we haven't met yet.